on the sliding glass doors, this little lock right here, okay, which is called a billy button. The lock itself,
I'm sorry, what is it called?
it's called a billy button.
Like a belly button.
Billy button.
A billy button. It's a very high-tech name.
Yeah. That's cute.
Billy.
Billy, like the name Billy, and then button.
B-U-T-T.
Yep.
Okay.
This lock right here costs $10.50. Okay? If we were to come out and install it, it costs $42. That's a half an hour of labor and the lock itself. We actually give you a little break. There would be a service call on that as well. Right now, the most common way to get into a sliding door is to pop it up. I mean, that lock is like a 1/4 of an inch. You pop it up, you scoot it over. Okay? Something as simple as this lock really effectively eliminates lifting your sliding glass door up, the vertical attack, what I call it, or pulling it over, which is what I call the horizontal attack.
Do you put one on each panel?
It's a great question. For those of you that have 2 panels that kind of operate back and forth like a double, believe it or not, if you secure your outside door, the outside, you know, if you're standing in, the door furthest away from you, okay, if you secure that, literally with a broomstick or a piece of extruded aluminum, whatever it is you want to look better, you can secure that door, that other door. Because once you keep that outside door from being lifted and removed, there's really no way to get the other door out. So now all you can do is force it over, and for the cost of a broken off broom, you can solve that. So very effective. There's another lock that you may or may not have seen. It's called an Engert lock. And essentially, if you were to picture an upside down J, it basically does the exact same thing. Really, they're mutually exclusive. One or the other are both as effective. The reason there's 2, this doesn't work in all applications. That lock doesn't work in all applications. In all likelihood, one of the 2 is going to work.
Is one sufficient for floor sliders?
Do they slide both directions?
One. They go one.
So they're pocketed in, the last door's fixed?
Yes.
Is it a fixed last door? To where you couldn't force it back over? It probably is. If it's a fixed 4-door, then one would be sufficient. Again, the outside-most door.
We have, the one opens this way, one opens to the right.
And the 4 collapse in, or just one and one?
Together.
Okay. In that situation, no one is going to have a 16-foot piece of wood down in their track. Okay? So they make what's called a kick-down lock, which is a lock that sits on the edge of your door, and assuming it has enough clearance, basically you can flip it down. It accomplishes the same thing as a broomstick, a little more expensive. But it is effective. But what you want to accomplish with your sliders is you want to eliminate someone from lifting them up, and you want to eliminate someone from forcing them over. Okay? Now,
I have one of those. but
one of these like this?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it just seems like it's not good enough.
It doesn't have to be elaborate. I'll be the first one to tell you, it does not have to be elaborate.
It looks so flimsy, you
Yeah.
know, when I had it installed, I went, okay.
Some of these solutions are very, very, very simple. Very, very simple. In fact, I'll tell you one thing that you could do right now today walking out of this meeting to give yourself better security. If you take, you know, as I mentioned, there's 2 types of attack. Horizontal, pulling the door over, and vertical, lifting the door out. Vertical, far more common than someone just jerking the door off. If you go and take a screw and recess it out about a 1/2 inch and a couple positions on your top rail, then you're basically going to eliminate someone being able to lift it and pop it out over the track. That costs you almost no money, and you instantly get more security. You know?
But you can't open the door.
No, you could open the door. It just eliminates someone sticking a primer under there and popping it over the rail because you're creating a positive stop on the top.
I was sliding the thing off the rack because I got stuck outside of a different house. And there's only 2 doors, one on each side. And I asked God to help me, and all of a sudden the door went up and I went in. And my son had to come and screw the damn thing to the wall.
The key for you is have more extra keys.
Listen, if you drove through a snowstorm like I did that day, you would
No, all
No,
jesting
I'm
aside,
kidding, I'm kidding.
I mean, it doesn't have to be elaborate. This, incredibly effective. You know, putting screws in your door eliminates half of how people are going to break into your sliding doors.
Okay.
Some other things, just depending on your door, you could do something like this lock here. If, let's say you wanted something that felt a little more sturdy, just from a comfort level, they make this lock, which is a sliding door lock. These are around $56 plus install. This lock, essentially, you've seen how flimsy that little bolt is. What this does is it actually replaces that lock with something that's significantly more substantial. You can kind of see the size of the posts that lock in. So if you just wanted to mess with the handle of your existing door but wanted something more secure, this would be something that would do that. Again, more expensive, a little more elaborate. It's pretty cool. And, you know, and it kind of speaks to, you know, we've talked about when you're not home, keeping someone out. But let's say you are home and you want someone to stay out. You know, a lot of times that's a fairly stressful encounter. If someone's banging on your door, you know, you don't know if they got a legitimate reason or a purpose, etc. It's criminal how small those little peepholes are indoors. I mean, you can see almost nothing through those. They do make options like this, and I'll pass this around too. This is pretty cool. This is designed to replace, now it's much larger. It comes in two colors, gray and black. But I tell you, we've had people just knocking down the doors for this piece of equipment. It's around $56, and basically, you can hold it like that. It allows you to see what's going on outside your door from about 8 to 10 feet away. So, you know, the risk of walking up to the door, afraid someone's gonna, you know, maybe push it back or rip it off or somehow threaten you, you know, this allows you to maintain a very comfortable distance. It's also really effective for people that have eyesight that's going, myself included, you know, maybe disability doesn't allow them to get up to a convenient height. So you can kind of check out what kind of picture that presents. It's best if you hold it a little further away. But that's something that is really, really popular. You know, in compared to what you typically find is that door viewer, you know, which is about a 3/8 inch hole.
And Stan, what is this called?
That's a door scope. It's called a door scope.
Cool.
As to the people.
Very simple. I mean, like I said, you could get
No, you got it.
completely carried away in any business, especially security, with the latest, greatest hardware, electronics, whatever the situation. In many cases, it's the most simple things that are the most effective.
In case you're wondering why I'm asking all these questions, especially,
Well, please do.
I'm writing an article for a community newspaper, and the deadline is tonight, so I gotta get everything today.
Absolutely, no problem. Are there any other questions related to the high security locks or the key bumping or some of the other things you can do? I can tell you another inexpensive thing for your windows. If you have windows that slide up and down, I mean, I sell them, they sell them everywhere, any hardware store, big box. Window locks, I mean, they're 50 cents, 75 cents a piece. Keep someone from just lifting your window up. You know, let's face it, no one's going to open their windows when it's 105 degrees outside. But this time of year, when it's nice, you want to be able to enjoy that breeze, that air flowing through your house without having to feel like, gosh, if I do that, you know, and I forget, someone can just lift my window up. So, though, I mean, it's the simple things, again, that can really make a big difference. And like if I haven't conveyed it before, I mean, I will be the last person to tell you you're going to 100% stop someone. What you can do effectively is deter them. And, you know, in most of the instances, that deterring is enough. Anything
Anybody else?
I have to be honest with you, I'll say one thing. Totally unprepared. I was literally in the middle of doing something and they said, George can't make it, you gotta go out. So I shot out here, I don't have any business cards. You can reach me, my name is Stan, I'm at the main shop on Fowler. I will send my information. It's actually on Fowler, not far from the Edison Mall. And like I said, we've been at that location for 15 years. It's a very large facility.
Yeah, I think I've seen it too.
But
What's
if
your
anyone has
phone
any
number?
questions-
Let's give you a little commercial.
Okay. The number, if you want to reach me, or really anyone at the shop, is 936-0373.
Oh, yeah.
037.
Yes. I normally keep all my stuff in here. Someone must have cannibalized it.
Can you
Yes,
just
sir.
confirm up, what's the cost of that lock, including installation?
The
tax?
lock being the multi-lock?
Right.
Okay. I'll give you a hypothetical situation. Service call of $79. Okay, that gets the man, the equipment, the expertise out to your facility. All right, that's a one-time charge. Installation on something like this, whether it be new or swap, is going to affect it. $20 to $25 if you're taking this lock and just swapping it out with something that's already there. If it's a new install, closer to $45. So let's, in this example, say it's a new install, so you'd be service call of $79 plus the install of $45, and that would be a per door. The lock itself is $223, and keys are $12.50 a piece. Okay. Now, since I'm here and I'm talking to you, if someone, and like, if you want, I'll email all this stuff kind of as a summary. You know, if you want to shoot it out. If you want, I'll give anyone who buys one of these, if you were in this meeting, and I have to trust you, I'll give you 15% off of the lock. Keys will still be $12.50, but depending on the lock, I'll give you 15% off for the next week or so. Okay?
Is that service charge for just the one lock, or if you have 3 locks?
That's a
it's the
one-time
same?
charge. So if you had 9 locks, you pay one service call plus the locks.
Oh, no.
Now, just to answer, I guess, more completely that question. So $223 for a single, $298 for a double, and $323 for what this is, which is that captive lock. So about $200 to $300, a little more for the captive. And like I mentioned, keys, $12.50 a piece.
Would you suggest that particular lock for the garage door when you come in from the garage into the house? Or would there be a different lock that you?
No, this would be the lock. It's just a question of whether or not you need one. I mean, I recommend this if you want to make it as difficult as
Say whether or
possible.
not you need it.
Well, here's what I mean by that, okay? Your front door is exposed to everybody, okay? It's the most visible door that most people walk up to, okay? I would definitely recommend this lock for that door. If you have a side door or a rear door that's not very visible, that's kind of hidden by shrubs or something, that's on an exterior, I definitely think you'd want to do something like this. Otherwise, there's no point in doing it on the other door. In the garage, it gets a little trickier because chances are you have a garage door, okay? So, you know, it's not easy to get into those garage doors. You see, again, the media, you see all the things. If you want to know that it was as difficult to get from your garage to the inside of your house as every other door, then yes. If you wanted to save a few dollars and just secure the visible exterior, then no, you wouldn't necessarily need it. That's why I say whether or not you need it. You know, because I am not naive to believe that $200 for a lock is not a lot of money. Is it worth it? Yes. But, you know, if you had 2 outside doors and a door going to the garage, and you could afford $500 or $600, that would get that job done. You know, adding another lock, now all of a sudden you're $800, $900. You know, that's a lot of money. And you know, in what we have, I'll tell you the other thing to think about. We have a lot of people that will buy one of these, and then come back and buy another one, and come back and buy another one, as they're trying to upgrade the overall security of their property. So it's not an all or nothing approach either.